Namaste, Jai Bharat. China is definitely one very rich nation, a very powerful nation, and just because of communism, very structured and organized nation who can produce output because there shall be no resistance from their society. The society is always compelled to obey and always compelled to be volunteering for anything which the nation, the state asks. So here, of course, technically speaking, it's not communism in the real sense as you read from Marx. It's a kind of communism named dictatorship. Anywhere, all over the world, except in the former Soviet Union for some time. That's just during the days of Lenin. Communism, Marxism, had always been a pattern of dictatorship or an instrument of dictatorship in every society where they have called themselves as Marxists. Marx, many people I hear them telling, even in academics, that the theory is good, it's when it comes to practical, it's difficult. No, the theory is not good. That's a problem. The Marxian theory is built with contradictions. Some other time I'll speak about it. Now I am talking about China. So China is an iron curtain society, and Karl Popper should be remembered here. Open society and its enemies. Not that I agree with Popper completely. He is a science obsessed man, like Marx himself. Marx also has got this obsession with science. He always wants everything to be scientific. Scientific socialism, scientific communism, scientific democracy, and scientific whatnot. That's the attitude of Marx. He, of course, is also a product of his time and a product of his context. So, China, that way has become very rich. Now, any country which is under dictatorial regime shall be economically strong. That's what communist nations become economically strong very fast. Because nobody says anything, everyone has to do what has been told. So if the dictator wants or wishes so, naturally he will want to be powerful. He will want to be powerful, then that power and authority and the wealth will have its own distribution in its own manner to the people, and they will be comfortable economically because they treat economics as a substructure, but otherwise they will be unhappy because they don't have choice, they don't have freedom, etc. Now that is again a different topic. But so China has got army, etc. This thing, that thing, but there is something that is missing. It's something like a rose flower sans fragrance. Is a rose flower without fragrance. That's what they don't have, a vibrant, active soul. This is the only way I can put it. The society has no soul pulsating. When I'm talking about society's soul, I'm just thankful to Maharishi Aurobindo, who talks about nation soul. Nation soul, life divine, etc. The books written by him. These books one must read. Sri Aurobindo, youngest Maharshi, the youngest Maharshi in the Rishi Parampara of my nation. So their society suffocates. Marx, of course, he talks about sigh of oppressed creature, soul of soulless conditions, etc., etc. When he talks about religion, and it is a small write-up, when he talks about religion, in his small write-up, critique of Hegel's philosophy of right, yeah, the soullessness we find maximum in the communist situations. I don't know how Marx would have looked at it had he been alive. Every time it's always like that. So they have a suffocating society. And the dictatorial regime in China are powerful. They had the habit of believing that they're very powerful. Yeah, they are powerful. They are very rich. Yes, of course, they are very rich. However, whatever, but they are very rich now. And they have a very powerful army which has to be Christian. They may have an army, but I don't think it's all this. They have very good technology, fine, that should be correct. They are very advanced in technology, though many times this technology is mostly either borrowed or obtained through reverse engineering, and they want the property of the neighbor, something like Hitler. If you read the autobiography of Hitler, Mein Kampf, you will come across this very explicit statement that when my people are hungry, I will snatch away the land of my neighbor and give to my people. They will cultivate and remove their hunger. Now that is not human way of living. You take somebody's property and give it to my people doesn't make you a good human being. A good human being should not only look at other human beings with respect, but the entire cosmos with respect. That should be the attitude, like in a Hindu perspective. You should look at both living, non-living, respectfully. The Hindus will ask you to find divinity in everything, living, non-living, whatever. That's philosophy for us. So China takes always trying to take neighbors' property. They will claim everything. What they have not claimed with us, Bharat. First of all, Tibet is a land of the lamas. And the Chinese per se, as communists, have nothing to do with religion. It's a land of Buddhism, the Lama tradition. And Tibet, they have snatched away. The Tibet is still under their occupation. Somehow, some Tibetans Buddhists survive. Dalai Lama somehow reached Bharat. Though Jawaharlal Nehru made such big blunders, one thing he did right is to receive the Dalai Lama. I don't know who must have strongly advised him. So Dalai Lama is still with us in Bharat, and quite a few Tibetans came to Bharat, and they live comfortably with complete freedom. In my university, there were a lot of Tibetan students because they found this place safe. No disturbances, no politics, no students movement against these people come to university to study. And they have good relations among themselves or with the teachers. I'm talking about the Baroda University where I was teaching. And a lot of Tibetan students. Only thing, their names are so difficult for us to understand. Sometimes I've seen both girls and boys have similar names. Same or similar, I don't know. But these students are very good students. As usual here, all students come just to study, not for anything else. Their primary work is study and they just come and do their business and go away. So Tibet they have taken. They wanted, and then they want Arunachal Pradesh. They think it is theirs. And I don't know why they claim Arunachal Pradesh. The people are Buddhists, basically, and they are with Bharat, and they will want all kinds of places. Akshaya Chin, of course, etc., etc. They have this habit of coming and enforcing borders. So China was bossing, bullying, it's going on. And Pakistan always is very yours obediently. Pakistan is always yours obediently. And Pakistan will try their best to swindle money. The Lahoris, they always say one thing and mean a different thing and do an entirely opposite thing. Wherever they are benefited, they will go for that. That's the nature of Pakistan. So they had taken sufficient money from China. They have fooled China. Imagine fooling China. Giving them so many promises and actually executing nothing. So China has dumped a lot of wasted money. Pakistan. Actually, China deserves it because they had been buying. They tried their best to buy Sri Lankan ports, paying money, getting them into debt, and they were compelled to say yes to the Maldives, many places in the world. They invest there, give their money, and then take with interest back. And if you are unable to pay, they take the property, port, whatever it is. or even minerals and metals, etc. So this is China, and absolutely not trustworthy. No one trusts them. I am sure that no one trusts them. And this China must be very, very, very powerful. And China was exceptionally friendly to Pakistan. And this Pakistanis, they fool everyone in the world by virtue of not executing what they promise. That's the way they fool. And they will claim so tall things and say China's, Pakistan's friendship is higher than the mountains and deeper than the oceans. These are the kind of things they speak in their perverted language, Urdu, which is not really a language. It's Hindi written in Persian script, and they call it a separate language. I refuse to accept as a separate language. You write this language, you write my language with a different script and call it as a separate language. I don't find any logic in it. Anyway, that's again besides the point. So that is the kind of thing they say. And Iran, Iran also considered China and Russia as a good friends. And friendship you learn from Bharat. Look at Bharat friendship. When Sikkim, when Sikkim's border, Doklam, was physically invaded by Chinese army, Sikkim's king requested Bharat. Sikkim is a country, independent kingdom, where they come to my nation without passport and visa. We also go there. It's that kind of a relation. Our army went there, taking no time. For 78 or 73 days, our army stood facing Chinese army face to face. We have an agreement with China that we don't use weapons. But we beat up each other. Their army and our army beat up each other. Sometimes using clubs, but not to fire any bullet. That kind of agreement we have. And this funny things you will say, they stand face to face and stare at one another. Chinese can't stare at people of Bharat, because we are bigger eyes. Bigger eyes, big beard, mustache. This of course terrifies the youngsters. And China does not have a very courageous army, because they had this one child policy some time back to reduce the population. And one child, if you ask them to come to army, that child is a pampered child. Only one child, others they can't afford to have. And a pampered child coming in the army, you can imagine the rest. He'll be mama's boy. And mama's boys can't be soldiers. So these people get scared. And also, especially our Sikhs, Sardars, with the physically very, very stout Sardars, basically, with their beard, big eyes, and staring only, not even talking. Stood for 73 or 78 days, facing to face. For what? That's friendship. That's friendship. Same thing. In many other countries, Sri Lanka, overnight we reached there to help them. Maldives, who had plotted against Bharat with China, and when they knew China cheated them, deceiving them, impoverishing them, they requested us, we forgive, and we forgot and stood by them. Many such examples are there, many such examples. Where Bharat stands, we stand. No wonder my Prime Minister goes to Israel for 2 days at the very eve of war. That's nothing but to say, we are with you. We may not give weapons. Our soldiers might not go to fight, but our presence is what Israel wants. Israel is very capable of doing everything. But where they need support, we will be there. Where you need us, we'll be there. And that trust people have. That's the transparency of Bharat. That's the kind of trust which Bharat has earned from the world. And that's why France has collapsed all the whole history and become so close to Bharat recently, very recently. They are looking at a futuristic, long-term, transparent, trustworthy relations which they don't find in Europe. So, Iran, when they got into fix, China was not there to help. Because China will look after their interest. They will save themselves. That's practical for them, very practical for them. They cannot afford to go and help Iran, but Iran must have expected both China and Russia. And Russia you can blame. They're already engaged in a war with Ukraine. They're busy, the resources are depleting, and they have to continuously replenish. So they are busy. They just can't go and afford. They can't afford to go and support Iran in I don't know what kind of manner they will need support, but nonetheless. But China said nothing. China stays clear of trouble and just closes eyes and goes ahead with their own business. This they could have done earlier instead of making huge, loud cry and much about nothing. This, of course, is a case with China and anyone else except we, the Hindus, who would say, but stand by our words. There are very few in the world who would stay by what they promise. So that the credit you should give to us. We are straightforward, we are honest, we are not deceptive. We keep our words and do our maximum. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Shri Ram.